sitting with Alistair Cohen, a South African horse racing commentator. Alistair, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Pleasure, Dan. I'm all good today. Find me in good spirits and pretty happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us again. Let's start off with, how did you get involved with horse racing commentating?
It's a dream that I've always had, something that I've always wanted to do. When I was a youngster, family lived right near Gravel Racecourse, and always used to go down with my dad, who enjoyed having a punt. And the bug bit at a very early age. Getting involved in horse racing is something that I always wanted to do. Really enjoyed the sport, enjoyed the thrill, enjoyed the ride, and I thought that becoming a commentator would have been the coolest job on the racecourse to get involved in. Lo and behold, a few things took me there.
Now, how does one go about becoming a horse race commentator?
I had an element of luck involved when I was 12 years old in grade 7. There was a commentators competition in Durban at Clearwood Racecourse, and I decided to enter, sent in a few audition tapes, and I think there was a bit of shock, the fact that I was 12 years old. The fact that I had the nerve to enter at that age, and on that day there were 3 races that they made us commentate into tape recorders, and they assessed our potential and looked to see if there was anything that we could, or if there was a career that we could make of the game. And I think age was on my side, and they gave me a chance, gave me a break, and it took me 7 years to practice, going to the 3 KZN race courses. I opened up a spare commentary box for me at Gravel, Clearwood, and at Scottsville and Pietermaritzburg. Went there, 7 years, practiced into a tape recorder, submitted my tapes, and in 2010 the door opened for me in Johannesburg. I relocated, and the rest is pretty much history.
Alistair, take us through the day in the life of a horse race commentator. What happened?
I think the beauty of being a horse racing commentator is that no day is really the same. It depends where I'm deployed to work. So Monday, for example, I'll normally go to Kimberley, wake up at 4 in the morning, catch the 6 o'clock flight to Kimberley, spend my day preparing for the races. They normally have 9 races on the Kimberley race course, so spend my morning preparing for that. Doing my thing and flying home. If it's a meeting based in Johannesburg, wake up at 8 o'clock, make my way to the course as early as possible. Preparation's pretty much the same, but I think the beauty of being a horse race commentator is that every race is different, every race is a unique event. So in terms of preparing, I tend not to over-prepare, not to predict the outcome of races before it happens, and just talking about what happens in front of me.
For yourself, in your own opinion, what horse race stands out for you on the South African horse racing calendar?
The Vodacom Durban July is obviously the race that everybody wants to win. First Saturday of July at Gravel Racecourse, 60,000 people go there. It's a social event, it's a fashion event, but most importantly it's a horse race. It really displays what horse racing is all about, the passion and the drive to spend an entire year preparing to win that race. And just the vibe on course is absolutely unbelievable. So that's the race that everybody wants to win. It's a unique race. It has a lot of history, has a lot of tradition, and like I said, it's a whole year of planning for trainers, for owners, and for jockeys to try and catch the big one on the first Saturday in July.
Alistair, the end of last year you were fortunate enough to go to the Breeders' Cup in California, United States. Was it business or pleasure?
It was a bit of both. I was lucky enough to get an invite from friends that I've known for a long time, from the Heifer family, who have been involved in horse racing. They own a bookmaking company, and because I've known the Heifers for such a long time, they decided to take me on board. But in terms of business, yes, went to connect and network with a lot of people over in America. It was a fantastic experience. And as for the actual race day, to see some of the world's best horses in front of a huge crowd on a race day that has millions of dollars up for grabs in terms of stakes, it's a betting bonanza, was an absolute dream come true. And to see California Chrome in the flesh, who was the horse of the year for 2 years running, absolutely unbelievable.
What would you say was the biggest lesson you took out from attending the Breeders' Cup?
Just the way things are done. I think there's a lot of emphasis in believing in heroes in America, whereas our heroes in South Africa tend to be forgotten quite quickly. Now, I do say that with a little bit of a pinch of salt, in that I'm not too sure how California Chrome is going to be remembered when he retires. Our heroes, barring Horse Chestnut, who went overseas and basically flew the flag for South African racing for a while over in America, and he was an absolute freak of nature. I tend to think that Triple Crown winners like Louis the King, like Abashiri, just tend to be forgotten a little bit too quickly, and I think America really places a lot of emphasis on the heroes and the horses that have brought the people to the course, and they really capture the imagination of the people.
Now that you've attended international events as well, how do South African horses fare against international opposition?
South African horses are super competitive against international opposition. We have a trainer in South Africa, Mark de Kock, who has opened up so many doors for South African horses and South African racing overseas. He goes to Dubai for that carnival where a lot of the best horses around the world race for big money. And our South African bred horses and South African trained horses have had unbelievable results. The first year that he went over, when Ippy Tombi and Victory Moon were the first two horses to race in Dubai, and both won races in Dubai World Cup now, all of a sudden the world suddenly realised that South African horse racing has got a big role to play in the world.
Alistair, you've been doing this for quite some time now, so there's no denying that you are a role model and an inspiration within the horse racing community. If you had a special message to somebody who would like to become a commentator but doesn't know exactly what to do, what would you say to them?
Don't stop believing, start learning colours, and just practice like anything else in life. Good rugby players, good cricketers, they don't stop practicing. I know that we're not comparing apples with apples, but to be a commentator, your eyes got to be in and you can't lose focus.
Alistair, Game On Magazine would like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for spending some time with us as we go into what it's like to be a horse race commentator in South Africa. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Dan. Really appreciate the opportunity.